Juan-o's world.
My baby mama trippin', she been going through my phone. Tired of me cheating, I can't leave these hoes alone. Hella pics, hella tips on my cash app. It's like, hold up a... Ooh, well, you might have guessed it, maybe you didn't. But this Nolan Wells case is getting more and more and more ridiculous as the days go on. Everybody's saying it's not a racist thing, but then when you look at it, how could you think it's anything else? They say it's nothing to hide, but the evidence that is nothing to hide is they have nothing to show us. So many missing pieces, so many unanswered questions, so much communication missing, even though everybody's talking. But something new has come across my desk. Let's check it out and see what you think about this.
Few seconds appears for some that not only Wells was on the boat with his friends when they left Horn Island, that he also appeared to have passed away amongst them. At the top of the call, while hold music played, you can hear panic from an unidentified young woman who appears to say Nolan.
Now, this picture that they showing, we don't know if it was the 4th of July night or not, but we do know it's a recent picture. We just don't know exactly when it's happened. Some people say it was a night or two before. Some people say it was that night, which is crazy because all of these people in this picture, somebody should be able to say, hey, that was such and such day, but nobody has. Leading to us of a certain demographic to be even more suspicious. I'm sorry.
Followed by, oh my God. Now, as the driver of the boat tries to explain the situation regarding the boat itself, you would then hear a male voice in the background seemingly yell,
which is another thing,
wake
because
up, wake the F up.
As a person, I live next to a river. There's the Detroit River. We do a lot of boating. There's a lot of festivities right off of the river. People drinking on your boat is your responsibility. The people that leave on your boat making it back is your responsibility. Something happening to somebody on your boat is a liability. And there's so many different things here. You know, I would implore the Carmelo Anthony family to put a lawsuit on every boat that they say he was on or that was connected to it, because one, these kids shouldn't have been driving those boats themselves without adult supervision. Two, they know the responsibilities of who boards the boat and what they're supposed to do once they do. And three, they're trying to cover something up. At the very least, they're liable. Why not? Now you heard that? Oh my God. I know. Yeah, that was clear as day. And the problem with this is that this recording just not making it out. And to be honest with you, the black YouTubers and content creators are searching this stuff out, which lets you know how important it is that the job that we do, because people talk a lot of stuff about podcasters, bloggers, and YouTubers, but if it wasn't for us, especially Willie D, most people wouldn't know anything about these other developments. Most people wouldn't know anything about searching this stuff out.
CETO Assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the word coming up, sir?
Now, of course, due to the
crazy.
the conversations in the background not taking place a part of the actual call, the way some are hearing this could be challenged by those who choose not to see it that way. Now, as an attempt to better make out the background chaos, we will remove the hold music at the beginning in an edited version.
To connect you.
CETO Assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the word coming up, sir?
Now, to note, we as well personally can't help but to hear what many are now picking up, as well as potential's final moments, now that this version of the toll
I heard the name. I heard it.
call has been released. Now, for some, as the call continued, there appeared to be other questionable moments in the background for listeners, as the boat driver, identified as Wyatt Pyron, continued to speak with the operator. Like at the end of the call, when you would hear the called sea tow captain express that he got a direct call from the grandfather Pyron, who would tell him that a tow was no longer needed. This for some would be the beginning of a cover-up to minimize witnesses.
Which was kind of suspicious. I mean, they're on the Gulf Coast. Make no mistake about it. They're down in what? Mississippi? Big water. Big water. You telling me your boat is sinking and you don't want all the help you can get? Are you that cocky, that ballsy? You telling me it's no cell service, but you was able to call your granddad and the boat people to save you? No VHF radio on board, but you don't want the Coast Guard? I mean, it's just a little fishy to me.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee for service come up under Jerry.
Okay.
Now, this is what stood out to me as a young black man. I, as a 17, 18-year-old, being frustrated, calling somebody for help with my membership or with a company, I've never had somebody be so apologetic, so understanding of my frustration. I've never had somebody be so accepting of my ignorance as a 17, 18-year-old boy. I wonder what's the difference. He was
sounds
rude
like a
as
bunch of
hell.
kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking, and he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
He said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7.
They say he's just a kid, but Nolan's supposed to have been an adult that knew better, and all of these things is his fault. But let's carry on.
I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24 footer, but that's all he can give me.
Phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat, and
Is it
he
Jerry?
said that Jerry, yeah, he said
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So
Oh,
I'm
right.
guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah,
Or,
they're in a panic.
Since the beginning
So let me get this straight. You telling me in the middle of the sea? Never mind.
of this case, many have questioned Wells'
I just don't get.
friend's story, as many things appeared inconsistent throughout, and those online will call out the entire situation as being a cover-up of the death of another black teen in Mississippi. So what happens next? Given that this call is now officially 22 days old, we're certain the local officials and investigators have examined it by now. And given that agencies like the FBI are involved, we can also be certain that they have the resources to completely clean distorted audio with specialized forensic audio.
Yep. Hey, you know who got the best forensic lab in America? Target. Go figure. It's so many. As a matter of fact, Parks from the Joe Budden show, you one of the best engineers in the country. You could take that tape and EQ it out to see exactly what's being said in the background, the same way you do for them live recorded shows. You could do that, can't you? Come on, Joe Budden podcast. Have Parks clean this up so we can put it to bed. Maybe it's something, maybe it's not nothing.
Tools that can isolate speech. Now,
Right.
according to reports, the FBI has perfected this ability since the 1960s as a way to improve distorted speech from wiretaps, 911 calls, and covert body wires. Now, what we unveiled is the case, and we all have now witnessed that Nolan was back on the boat that day where he potentially lost his life, many individuals can now face consequences, like all of his friends who were on the boat that never gave Wells' family and authorities the truth and potentially helped get rid of his body. The stepmother warned
That's a charge.
Hudson Judge Ashley Cole, who would push potential false statements. The grandfather Wyatt Pyron, who looks to have helped his grandson avoid serious consequences.
Who's also liable because it was his boat.
The adults who supplied the teens with alcohol, causing them to potentially make terrible decisions that day, and local law enforcement for failing to aggressively move forward on making arrests when there were signs early on, like Exhibit A, picture of Nolan and his underage friends drinking, and more specifically for Sheriff John Ledbetter for expressing he didn't see any signs of foul play.
And that's what the Nolan Wells, that's what the family need to do. They just need to put cases on all these bitches. You may not win every case, but putting cases on everybody gonna put pressure on everybody. Just sue them all. All of these different people got some degree of culpability and liability. And that's what we have to start doing as black people in these situations. Just start suing people. And then not only that, we can all donate, put the GoFundMe up. Everybody put in $2, $3 for information. We'll come up with a nice amount of change. The same way they come up with a nice amount of change, $5 at a time for these racist white people that do horrible shit. They millionaires out there doing it. You lose their job
Before
and be
an
living better
autopsy
than
was
them.
even conducted. This recent update not only could highlight criminal bias, but also media bias because, again, this audio is over 20 days old. But for some reason, none of the major outlets played it in its entirety, which would.
And that's another thing, like with the missing text messages and Snapchats and all of that. When it came down to Kwame Kilpatrick, they got the text messages. When it came down to Lil Durk, they got the text messages, the back channel messages. The same thing with everybody else that's been persecuted. They ain't had no problem getting the Epstein emails, no problem getting the text messages and emails from no other situation and or case in United States history. But now we can't get the Snapchat. Now we can't see the telegram. Come on now. Do you believe that?
Would have captured the slurred speech by Pyron, the boat's driver, thus potentially incriminating him of boating under the influence, which again is against maritime law, as well as capturing him stating that none of the occupants of the boat were over 21 years old, the legal drinking age in Mississippi.
Okay,
How many adults on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question.
On Thursday, Mississippi District Attorney Angel Miles McIlrath would speak out about the case and would defend the pace of the investigation as it would now be presented to a grand jury when it's complete.
I understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake. We are taking the time required to complete the work this investigation.
Now, see, I would believe that if every time I saw the shoe be on the other foot, that they pictures be out, who they are be out, the fact their parents was arrested once 30 years ago be out, their grades be out, everything about them be out. And this time you have nothing to offer and you want everybody to be patient, but you're not patient with us. Everybody's making excuses for these people, but you don't make excuses when the criminal or the accused is melanated. See, like that's the thing. It's not our rules that we playing by. It's your rules. We expecting you to hold the same standard in this situation that you hold in others. But you're not. And I would like you guys to remember when you get the chance, go look up a picnic and see where that term came from. And what you would notice is a couple of white people hanging a couple of black people. But it would be thousands, at least hundreds of other white people watching it go on, not saying nothing, not arresting nobody, not trying to stop it. And that's the problem with getting involved with a group of white people. Because the ones that don't agree will never be strong enough to say something in that situation. So you fucked either way. And that's the problem here. Everybody may not have been involved in this case, but everybody damn sure is involved in covering it up. And that's the whole problem with this
demands. Since Nolan was reported missing, local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies have worked around the clock investigating what happened to him. Every piece of evidence must be examined. Every credible lead must be followed to its conclusion. Every witness interview must be analyzed in context of all other evidence. The pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. I also understand that many people have questions about why more information.
I'm going to just have to say that's a crock of shit, because down there in Mississippi, y'all got more black men in jail for crimes they didn't commit than any other state. Y'all have a history of unjust justice, man, for as far back as America has been alive. Mississippi is so racist that California personally brought in people from Mississippi to be cops. They imported race. The racism in California is imported from Mississippi. That's why it's so perfected to the point that out there, niggas just keep themselves in a box.
Information has not been released publicly. In Mississippi, the rules of professional conduct restrict the information a prosecutor can release during an investigation. Our restraint in communicating facts.
That's bullshit, because if it was a black dude accused of this, y'all would be releasing everything. See, this is the prejudice. These are the politics. And this is what makes it racist. People are like, you saying everything is racist. No, I'm not saying everything is racist. You showing racism in how you practice with everything.
And evidence is not an effort to keep the truth from the public. It is an effort to protect the integrity of this investigation and the grand jury proceeding. As your district attorney, I have an ethical obligation to avoid public statements that could influence witnesses, prejudice a proceeding, or compromise the fairness of the legal process. My obligation extends to and requires me to use reasonable care to ensure investigating agencies avoid making those statements and releasing information as well. These rules exist to protect the search for the truth, not to prevent it. When the public asks, what about this? Or have they looked at that? Or did they think about this? The answer is yes. Those are the same questions investigators ask. The difference is that we can't publicly discuss the evidence, the interviews, or what those efforts have uncovered while the investigation is underway.
As far as Wells' family, they could.
But y'all haven't charged anybody at all for what we see are clearly obvious crimes. And that's the problem. Nobody's even been ticketed. We haven't heard the autopsy. Y'all missing body parts. Y'all didn't properly refrigerate the body so a second autopsy could be properly performed. There's so many things going on with this. And it's a concerted effort that there is no information. And see, that's the problem. That's the problem. The facts of the case is that there are no facts in this case. And that's what's very fucking suspicious.
Continue to ask witnesses to come forward and are expected to investigate Wells's phone with investigators assigned to the case. We all are also awaiting the findings from Wells' first autopsy now that the independent autopsy deemed his cause of death as undetermined. And so if this captured audio accurately depicts what many are now hearing, the pain and lack of trust that Black Americans have expressed becomes more valid. And on the birth of Emmett Till, July 25th, 85 years later, Mississippi gains another stain on the state's history. Reporting live from Ibis Club, Fight Plus News, I'm Janaba.
Detail assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
You heard that. You heard that. And this made me think about a whole nother case, because people say, well, why did Carmelo Anthony stab that boy? What would have made him just stab somebody? He went too far. Why would he do that? Nobody touched him. Y'all remember the Carmelo Anthony case, right?
Austin Metcalf was killed at a track meet in Frisco last year. That's his picture you see on his screen. Now, last month, this young man, 19-year-old Carmelo Anthony, was convicted and sentenced to 35 years in prison for the death of Metcalf. Now, since that conviction and the gag.
And see, that's the whole thing about this. Because you find yourself in this situation, you either going to be Nolan or you're going to be Carmelo. You'll be Nolan, never able to speak for yourself again, dead, gone from this earth. Or you'll be Carmelo, a convicted murderer, for just defending yourself. But either way, you find yourself tangled in this situation, you gonna lose. So as much as I could tell you to, I would hate to tell a black man to cower or lower his head. Just quite frankly, stay away from groups of white people. And psychologically, this is why niggas in the hood just kill each other, because you see how much of a lack of a value that black life has, to the point where going to jail ain't even a possibility for killing somebody on recording. Look at all the maritime laws that they broke. Look at all the state laws that they broke. At the very least, if this was a case of black kids and anywhere else, the liquor store would have got ticketed. People, boats would have got took. Look at what they do with them car pullovers. This ain't no different than the black kids having the car takeovers. But when the black kids have the car takeovers, they get tickets. Their parents' cars get taken. Car insurance go through the roof. They be liable for all kind of type of shit. Why is at least the same thing not happening here? At the very least, let's say nobody killed nobody. A whole fucking list of misdemeanors, class C felonies, etc., etc., etc. has taken place, and nobody's going to jail or even being ticketed for that shit. And that, my friends, is class A racism. But you don't want to hear me though. Listen, I live in the suburbs too. I live in one of the most diverse suburbs in Michigan. I used to live in a more black center suburb named Redford, but the police was mostly white. I don't know what to tell you. I do know racism is a little bit different in Michigan than it is in other places, and that's one of the major reasons I just decided to stay here. On that note, know what kind of crackers you crowded by. And on the side note to all you crackers, y'all so busy being racist against us, and look around. Look who really taking over your neighborhood and the finances and the vote. Because it ain't us. It ain't us. And they really don't give a fuck about you. And they killing motherfuckers too. But I guess we gonna leave that alone. You don't want to talk about who the real motherfucker is, huh? We ain't gonna talk about who the real person taking over this country is. And y'all so focused on racism, so focused on black people, y'all giving the whole country, the economy, y'all giving all that shit away to others. But you don't hear me though. Stupid. Racism is stupid, man. And then it's kind of crazy because we blaming the white man for this, and the white man being controlled. Clearly, we seeing how controlled the white man is by the other man who we ain't gonna name because they'll shut down my YouTube page. But you know what the fuck is going on, man. Y'all better smarten up. The black man is not your enemy. Damn, Nolan.
Juan-o's.
My baby mama trippin', she been going through my phone. Tired of me cheating, I can't leave these hoes.